Hello, welcome back. Today we have a motherboard from MSI, A320M-A Pro AM4 motherboard. It's told to me that it was broken and it's a little beaten up, like there's a scratch here, some pins are damaged, like this. But these pins shouldn't be a problem, and looks like there isn't a track here at this corner. Let's check if we have any shorts. I'm going to probe the ground from the IO shield part, one of the USB ports, and let's see, do we have a short on the 12 volts CPU? No, it looks like we don't. Let's see, I'm going to probe 5, 12 and 3.3 volts from the +4 ATX connector. No, this is probably ground. Yeah, okay. Looks like we don't have a short. Let's check some major power rails. Do we have a short on VCore? No. This is probably 1.8. Do we have a short there? No. This can be VDDP, I don't know. But we don't have a short. This is probably 1.05. It's normal that it has low resistance. Let's check. It's around 15. This powers up the PCH, and it's normal for the PCH to have a low resistance, like 15 ohms. I believe this is all right. If it was like 1, 2, or 0, we could say there's a problem, but looks like it's all right. And this is probably for the 3.3 VSB. We have a short there, no. Memory, power rail. Let's switch back to the diode mode. Yeah. Okay. These all look fine. So I'm going to grab a CPU. This is a Ryzen 5 2600. Oh, the socket is a little bit wiggly. Yeah. I don't like it. I'm going to just the CPU for now, and the latch shouldn't be like this. There should be something like a click sound when you lock it in. The socket might be damaged. For now, I'm going to power the board on like this. See the symptoms. There goes the 24 pin. Twelve volt CPU. Let's also get a buzzer. Goes in like this. Okay. Let's power it on. Okay, I want to check the 5-volt standby. I believe we can check it here. Yeah, we do have high volt standby. Okay. Do we have a power on the... Oh, okay. Just started. Do we get a beep code or something? CPU is getting warm. Let's check for the voltages. What do we have here? We have 0.9 for the CPU. Yeah, this is 1.8. 104. 105. Yeah, but we don't hear any beeps or anything. That's turned off. The CPU is getting warm. Okay. I want to check the socket. Oh, look at this. This shouldn't be happening. Okay. Let's pop the CPU cover off the socket cover to check the pins whether they are all right. I'm going to do it. Yeah, this comes off easily. This shouldn't be happening. It's 100% damaged. The cover. Let's try to hold gently with this. Unlock it. Oh, okay, it's off. It wasn't that hard. Oh, I see. We have some pin damage right here. Show you tweezers. Okay, we have some damage here, but in the socket, the pins are like the shape of U, like this, and one of the pins is broken. But I think if we can bend the other one just a little bit, we can establish a contact between the CPU and the socket. Let me try that. Okay. And I'm going to put a new socket cover. We have a socket here. I'm going to use the cover from this one. These are both from Foxconn. Yeah. Let's place it. Okay, it moves as it should. Okay, let's put our CPU back in the socket. Yeah. It's much better. Okay. So let's try again. PSU is on. Power button. Do we hear any beeps? No, we don't. Okay, let's put a BIOS battery. Good, let's check the voltage. It should be over 3 volts. Yeah, it's like new, maybe new. I don't know. Okay, it's on. Some boards need this, some don't. I'm just making sure. Oh, we're hearing beeps. Yeah, 3 long beeps. Does it react to the button? Yeah, we're hearing beeps. Okay, let's put some RAM in and try it again. I want to clean the socket a little bit. Okay. See, PSU is on. We're still hearing the same beeps. 3 long beeps. Let's try the other socket. Yeah, we're still hearing 3 long beeps. I want to try something. I'm going to plug the CPU. We have a problem here. Yeah, it's still a little wiggly. Let's put the CPU in. Yeah, sits nicely. Let's apply some pressure onto it while locking it in. Yeah, some RAM and try again. We are still hearing same beeps. Okay. Again. Let's see. Still 3 beeps. Okay. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to try to flash the BIOS. Because the motherboard is not brain dead. If it was, we would have no beeps coming from the motherboard. It's not brain dead, but maybe the BIOS is corrupted. There is a mark at silver color. Part of the chip. What's it? Is it broken or something? I'm sure I can stretch it off. I can scratch it and it goes away. So I don't think the chip has any problems. I'm going to use some hot air, but before that, I'm going to apply some leaded solder on the pins to lower the melting temperature of the solder. Okay. We are going to see whether this chip is broken or not, and try to reflash the BIOS. And also I'm going to use some aluminum tape, protect the SPI header here. I don't want to melt the plastic. Yeah, like this. Okay. I applied some little solder. Now we can use the hot air. Oh, and I also actually want to protect the PCI Express socket there with some aluminum tape. Okay, should do the job. Okay, the chip is off. Now I'm going to grab my programmer. This is a CH341A, a very cheap programmer, but gets the job done. And I'm going to need this board because I can't put the chip directly in the socket. That's why I need this. I'm going to solder the chip on this board, and this board is going to plug into the programmer like this. This is an adapter board. Okay, let's see the first pin. The first pin should go there. It chip should be soldered like this. I'm going to apply some flux on the board. And I'm going to solder the legs. Some more flux. Okay, the chip is soldered. I'm going to use some alcohol, clean it, and also cool it down. And now we can program it using a computer. Okay, this is the programmer, and I selected the chip that this motherboard is using. And I'm going to read the content in the chip. It's reading the content now. We might need to wait a little bit. Okay, I'm going to save it. As A320M-A Pro original. Okay. Let's delete the content. Okay, let's read the chip again. Okay, it's done. Now, let's see. It's all empty. And this chip looks healthy. Okay. Let's get our compatible BIOS here. And program the chip. It's going to take a while. Okay, it's programmed. Let's check whether it's programmed right. Now it's verifying the content is the same as we intended program. The verification is complete. It's a success. So we can close the programmer and resolder the chip onto the motherboard. Okay, we have our chip here. But before resoldering it, I want to prep the pads with some leather solder. We apply some flux. This is too much. Let's make some. Okay, this looks all right. I'm going to solder one of the legs first. Yeah, the chip is in position. Now I'm going to use hot air. Yeah, the chip is soldered nicely. Let's clean the board while it's still hot. Get rid of these. Okay, now let's test it again. I'm going to unplug the RAM first. See whether it's going to beep or not. The PSU is on. Let's see. CPU is getting hot, but we don't hear any beeps. Okay, let's turn it off. I'm not sure about the socket. Let's see, let's push the CPU down by locking the socket in. The PSU is on. Let's see. I'm turning the motherboard on. Do we hear any beeps? No. Let's reset the BIOS. I'm going to unplug the battery and use the CMOS reset pins here. I'm shorting them. Okay, let's see. CPU is getting hot. And we don't hear any beeps. try using some RAM. Let's put a cooler on the CPU. Okay, we don't hear any beeps. Let's turn it off again. Let's lift the socket cover again. Okay. Check CPU. Yeah, it sits nicely. Let's try to push these pins gently. We have some dirt. Yeah, let's get rid of it. Oh, the piece is broken. And the socket here is broken. Yeah, as we can see. I can try to use some adhesive. Yeah, let's try that. I'm going to get some adhesive and try to fix the socket problem here. The plastic part is broken. Okay, I just need a tiny bit. Let's wait for it to cure and try again. Okay, the glue should be cured now. Let's check. Yeah, Looks like it is. And I also glued the cover because probably it got broken. Probably because of the socket here pushing the cover up. The cover got broken here and here. I also glued these places. Okay, let's put the cover back in the socket. Okay. Looks like all right. Let's put the CPU back. The triangles should match here. Goes in easily, like it should. Let's log it in. Yeah, it's nicer now. Okay. Let's plug 24 pin back. Let's see. The PSU is on. Let's turn the motherboard on. Yeah. We are hearing 3 long beeps because we have no RAM or because it's still broken. I don't know, but it should do that without RAM. Let's put a stick of RAM in the first slot. Okay. Let's see. What do we hear from the buzzer? Okay, no beeps. That's a good sign. Let's put a cooler on the CPU. A long beep, one short beep, one short beep. One long, two short. Okay, let's check what this means. Okay, let's try it again. What are we going to hear? One long, one, two, two short beeps. Does this mean no VGA? Let's plug a graphics card in. I need to lift the board up a little bit. It's a little hard to slot that in. PCI Express slot 30. .y. Let's see. I'm also going to use some isopropyl alcohol to clean the socket. Let's wait for it to dry. Okay, looks like it's dry now. Let's plug a graphics card in. And I also want to hook up a monitor. Whether it's going to give a signal out or not. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, okay, we have a picture. Nice. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Okay, let's turn power supply off. Oh, I got a little bit excited. Was it the socket or the BIOS? I don't know. It's most probably the socket, and we did no electronic work on the socket. We just glued some plastic pieces, and if that was the problem, I don't know. But anyways, I showed how to flash a BIOS. That's why I'm going to upload it anyways. Let's find the CPU cooler. Populate all the RAM slots and see whether we can boot to Windows or not. Okay, here we are. Let me tell you what happened. When I put a RAM stick in the second slot, the motherboard was beeping continuously, telling that there was a RAM error. It was booting fine, sometimes with only a stick of RAM in the first slot, but not always. That's why I decided to replace the CPU socket, because when it was booting fine, you could enable XMP, you could do anything, but when you replace the CPU, it wasn't booting fine. It was giving a RAM error. That's why I decided to replace the socket completely. There are some damaged pins, as we can see in the old socket from this area, and there is one here. I didn't check what the pins were doing, but anyways, a lot of pins were damaged. That's why I decided to replace the socket completely. I don't have the right equipment to perform a socket replacement. I used an infrared space heater to heat the board, and I replaced the socket this way. It was very hard to record, that's why there are no recordings of it. And then after replacing the socket, there were a lot of knocked off components around the CPU area, like 15 or 20 SMD components. I needed to replace them. It took a lot of time, and because of the heat, some caps were bulging. That's why I decided to replace all the capacitors around the CPU area. As we can see, these are all the old caps. I recapped all the CPU area. And here we are. I put a CPU cooler. I put 2 sticks of RAM, dual channel. I have a graphics card, a tiny one, because there is a Ryzen 5 1600 in the socket, which has no integrated graphics. That's why we need a graphics card to get a picture. Let me show you the result. I'm going to short the power on pins. The PSU is on. Okay. As we can see, the fans are spinning. Let me get the buzzer. And as you can see, we have picture. Let me restart it actually. It's weird we didn't hear a beep, but board is booting fine. I couldn't go into the BIOS again. Let's try that again. Okay. Okay, we are in the BIOS. As you can see, XMP is enabled. These are 3200 CL16 RAM sticks. CPU core around 1.4. I think that's normal for the first gen Ryzen. This is the Ryzen 5 1600. It's the first gen Ryzen, the 14 nanometer one. Okay. Looks like we don't have a problem. As we can see, we have 16 gigs of RAM. The camera wasn't focused. Let me show you again. XMP is enabled. The RAM is all 16 gigabytes are there. Let's restart the computer. Like I said, I don't have a SATA SSD with Windows right now. I don't have a SATA SSD to use for Windows as well. I don't want to use an HDD. That's why I'm going to run memtest right now. I have an M.2 drive with Windows, but this board doesn't have an M.2 slot. I'm going to get one and try it with Windows, but I don't think there's going to be a problem if the MEM test passes, because we have a 16x PCI Express 16x GPU right here. All the 16 lanes are working. If it wasn't working, we would get no picture. I'm checking the RAM and the memory controller with MEM test. I'm going to let it run. I don't know, maybe overnight. And I'm going to show you if any error occurs or when the test is over. Okay, the card is still running, the computer. It's been like 2 hours since we started the MEM test 86. Let me show you. It has passed already 2 times, as we can see here. It's about to pass it a third time, as we can see here. I'm pretty confident that the spot is fixed. It needed a socket replacement, which is a hard thing to do, and for an A320 board, nobody would do that actually. But we are doing it here for the fun. Okay, this was it. The board is still running. With dual channel RAM. XMP is working. Thank you for watching. Please let me know in the comments whether you liked the video or not. Whether you want to see me do a socket replacement on an infrared space heater. Yeah, saying it is funny enough. It was like an experiment, and I have proven that it can work, but it's much harder than doing it with proper equipment. Okay, if you have any suggestions, please let me know. See you in the next video. Goodbye.